What's up YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Turf Therapy. Man, it's a beautiful day. Like this weather, I hope wherever you are on this Saturday, May 16th, your weather is as good as mine is today. To sunbathe, I can stay out here all day. Hanging out with my plants. This is the red mustard green giant. It's looking good. And I literally, guys, I only grew this because of the way it looks. But come to find out, it actually tastes like a mustard type green. It's really good. Even if you don't have a garden, leafy greens would definitely be the way to go, for sure. Because they're not that hard, they don't take that much time. Easy win, something to do with the kids. Leafy greens, for sure, guys. All right, so we're here today to kind of do like a recap of first quarter, right? So we're like recapping the first quarter for the project lawn, and that would be Say, right? Recapping Say's lawn. So the very first step for a homeowner, brand new homeowner that I can recommend to you is soil test. The day you sign your lease or the day you close on your contract, the very first thing you're gonna wanna do is go ahead and order a soil test kit or pay someone to come over and do it. And I'll have a video on whether or not you should be doing this stuff yourself or if you should be hiring someone to do it for you. That's later to come though. But you're going to want to get a soil test. And the reason why is because you could be in an area like Maryland. Like Maryland, you're technically not allowed to put down phosphorus without doing a soil test. It'll say it on some of these bags. I saw it on the bag the other day. Here, let me show you. See, so like it's almost mandatory for you to do a soil test. You can't just go throwing down phosphorus depending on when you live. Now, as you can see on that bag, my soil test that I got, I'm good for 4 years. So it's okay for me to introduce phosphorus into my lawn and Say's lawn at these levels that we're doing here that you'll see us doing because we did a soil test. So get your soil test done so you'll know what your soil is lacking, because more than likely, it's not soil. They scraped off the living stuff, right? Then they filled it in with non-living stuff, and then they laid living stuff on top of it. Keep in mind the living stuff was more than happy when it was growing up in this farm, and it had, let's say, maybe 4 inches of root depth, and now you're receiving this side that has 1 inch of a root depth. So that's a harsh life. That's a harsh life for the lawn. That's a harsh life for that turf that you're about to lay down. So what you have to realize is when you move into these homes and it looks beautiful and perfect, that is your time right then and there to maintain. You have to maintain. If you let it fade off, bringing it back is so much harder. So with that being said, there's got to be some expectation management here when you're dealing with this debris that's all underneath that top surface layer. You're going to need to really introduce some good organic material, and you're going to need to regularly feed that lawn until it can resustain itself and turn that dirt into soil, because it will happen over time, especially with you introducing a lot of organic materials as we've done here on Say's lawn. That's really been my focus. Get as much as OM back in there, so when I go and pull his soil sample, I see worms next time, because I didn't see any worms this time. All I saw was construction grade dirt, to be honest. But grass is resilient, and so as long as we feed it properly, you know, we can still make that happen. So early March, the next thing that we did was we dethatched. And we have already discussed why dethatching is important, because it cleans out all that dead debris, right? We get that dead debris out of there. Then after we did the dethatch and prodiamine, I went back around April. We did our first feeding. This was me kind of popping it out of dormancy, and the weather was super weird this time of year, guys. It was like warm for a few days and then go cold again. It was awful. But nevertheless, when we returned, after I did the Carbon X and the triple phosphate, and I'll put the rates that I did on the screen. Matter of fact, how about this? I'll just tell you right now. When I went and I did, guess what I'm using? I'm using my app. So it's stored in here. So yeah, April 13th, when we went, we put down 0.4 pounds of Carbon X. Then we put down 1 pound of triple phosphate because he was, I mean, that's what the soil test told me to do. And we had some good steady rain coming in. And then I put down 1/2 pound of X Green on top of that. So it brought everything up to 0.9 pounds of nitrogen, 1.06 pounds of phosphorus, and 0.57 pounds of potassium. That was the spread that we did on his lawn, the first application, right? So after I did that first application, I ended up returning, I think we were about 2 weeks after that, and the difference was night and day. Like, if I wasn't there to do it myself, I would not have believed it. The difference in pop between his lawn waking up, starting to wake up, versus his neighbors to the side of him. Now the lawn is thin, it's not perfect, and the reason why is because, well, Say will tell you the reason why. He let the sod go in, he didn't do anything to it, so a lot of it he lost, but we're gonna thicken it up, and we're gonna overseed it in the fall. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the thin areas right now. What you wanna do is focus on the areas that you have that made it through your neglect. That is your soldiers, your front runner soldiers that's gonna take care of you from the beginning into the end. That is where all your focus should be. Now, if he had a huge weed infestation problem that was inhibiting the growth of his grass, like right now, actively, then I would consider doing something extra to it. But anything we do to our lawn as far as introducing a herbicide at this point in our season for the cool weather or transition zone is also going to take away from the productivity of the turf, the desirable turf that we have in our lawn. So for me, I'm gonna opt not to. I think, like, there's a dandelion, I don't know if you see it, I'm gonna go hand pick that out. This is the time where when a rogue weed pops up, just hand pick it out, bro. Don't always go and grab the chemical for sure. So as I said, I wanted to highlight the importance of organic material. And to be clear, the only thing I've used on this lawn that has not came from the Carbon Earth Company at this point is the prodiamine that I bought from my local ag store and my triple phosphate that I brought from my local ag store. So every other product has been from the Carbon Earth Company. And the reason why I chose this company to run on this lawn is because all of their stuff comes loaded with these homogeneous prills that I can guarantee know that I'm getting an even spread and even distribution of micros and that biochar and that chicken manure, all really good, rich organic material that I know that this lawn needs. Along with that, oh, there's a butterfly. Where'd you go, butterfly? Along with that, it has the peptides in it, in the new blend. Now, he didn't actually get any peptides on his lawn until I put the X soil down and then the new formula of Carbon X, which we did last. But those peptides, that organic material, and that fast and slow release nitrogen, that's why I'm using those products. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm very happy with the results. Now for Say, and the way his house is structured and based off the equipment he has, it's also easier for him to just do solids. And I think that this is probably one of the best products on the market when you're looking for a granular. So, when we went back, I dropped a whole bag of X soil on there. And that sounds dramatic, but it really isn't. His lawn is 4,000 square feet. The application rate of X soil is anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds per 1,000 square feet. The bag is 50 pounds. So what did we do? We did a little bit, we did like what, 12, 13 pounds per 1,000 square feet, somewhere around there. Yeah, so. Thought that was a worm. I found a worm on my potatoes the other day. I don't know what kind it was. And keep my eye on it. The problems are always underneath the leaves, so always make sure you check the backside of your leaves. The backside. That's where the buggers are hanging out at. Let's hear what Say has learned that he can give to you brand new build homeowners. Like, he learned some valuable lessons that I think it's important to hear directly from him. So let's go ahead and see what Say has to say. What have you learned? Like, what was probably the most thing, the thing that like, that was the most daunting, challenging thing that you thought it was gonna be, but then turned out to be quite easy, and then vice versa? What did you think was gonna be easy, but then turned out to be a little challenging?
So that's the easy question.
That's the easy question?
Yeah, I thought there was some magic powder you could just spread around the whole yard, and then all of a sudden you get nothing but plushy green grass everywhere.
Right.
Not the case.
Not the case, guys.
Not the case. It takes time, dedication,
commitment,
and commitment.
repetition.
I mean, this lawn, we call it the project lawn, but we've been doing it for, my goodness, since 2019.
Since fall. That's right.
And we still got ways to go on this.
Still got a ways to go. So this is some expectation management for those who just walked into a brand new home and think that you're gonna have a picture perfect lawn with one application. Is that true? Is that even possible?
You know,
Picture perfect?
it is absolutely possible at first, right? Because they put a brand new sod.
They put the brand new sod.
Brand new sod on there, it looked great, all green. Give it about 3 weeks. Last year, this time last year-ish, I had a lot of bare patch spots that were just dead, right? And we put that pre-diamond so none of the weeds can come up. All we really did is give it a little extra food and we just mowed it.
Mowed it.
Every 4 to 5 days.
That's right. He's been mowing, guys.
It's not the new grass that came out. It's the ones that was already there. It kind of spread sideways. So going upward. So a lot of the patches were filled up now. That's right. Oh, and one final tip, if I may.
Okay.
If you think you watered it enough, you probably didn't.
So what should they do?
So, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna grab some.
Okay, let them go grab it. The student becomes the teacher. What's your secret weapon, say?
Right here.
Bow.
This, as simple as it looks, it does wonders because I used to water each of my zones, say, I don't know, 15, 30 minutes. And I said, man, that's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water.
That is a whole lot of water.
Yeah.
And then I measured it. Guess what it measured out to?
What's that? What, a quarter inch?
Like, it was dangling at the bottom somewhere. So that's not nearly enough water.
It's not enough water.
Especially during the hot summer, for the water to go all the way down to the root, so root can suck that water in. And I didn't realize that before. Now I do, because guess what? You might be doing it for 30 minutes, but 30 minutes of rain is different than 30 minutes of watering your lawn from a faucet.
Very different. Very different, guys.
And I didn't know that. So that's, if I can leave you with one thing, when you water it enough so your grass can take the water.
Right, and use some type of tool like this. I mean, you can go and get you an old can of tuna or something. But I like these because they have the measurement on there and the size is consistent and constant. And you can kind of plug them in the ground and no one really sees them and they don't move, they don't spill over. These are fairly cheap. I'll throw the link to that in the eye in the top right corner if you want to pick these up from Amazon. I don't remember how much they cost, but they're worth it because then you know how much water is enough.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very useful.
All right, let's get the spreading done and then get you back to Turf Therapy headquarters. If you have a brand new build, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so I can show you how you should be maintaining this lawn moving forward, especially if it's a brand new build. Because if you don't get on top of it in the beginning, if you don't get in front of it in the beginning and maintain that lawn, you're gonna end up spending more time or more money on it in the long run. So, what you need to focus on right now, if you're in the transition zone, picking up the lawn that you have now. Don't go out trying to conquer the world all at once. There are some people that will do a 3 months worth of work in one shot, and that's just too much. How do you eat a cow? One bite at a time, right? So don't try to force all this on your lawn because it's just gonna be too much. Yeah, that pretty much sums this up. Once again, guys, thanks for checking in for another episode of Turf Therapy, where we are healing lawns and souls. And I'll see you next time for a weekly dose of therapy with Rob.